Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of the everyone age. Now allow all of us to inscribe on the same page. We could start with some music,
or maybe a melody.
Could begin with a feeling,
or a sound that you've heard.
But wherever we start with, perhaps we begin with a word.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the Oation Station. This is episode 0.1, which is our second official segment of this brand new podcast series we are calling Move. It is a long-form conversation from those of us collaborating together at the core of this adventure, taking you on a journey behind the scenes and into what we are discovering from our creative process. Oh, and in case you were wondering, that little musical snippet you just heard is one of our most recent tracks from the Seven Sound Studios. It just so happens to be the very first reveal of our official theme music to this podcast show you are listening to now. It's an original track that we are calling the Reintroduction Song. Pretty funny and magical, don't you think? And assuming you caught that last lyrical line from the clip we left you with, then you might already be thinking about it. You know, the word. We made this song because we genuinely want to know, in this very moment, if you had to decide, what is the one word on your heart above all else that, for whatever reason, is burning inside you right now?
Yeah, what is that singular theme that's resonating deep within you? You know, the one that makes you feel inspired enough to go create and produce something special and meaningful with your friends. And so if you happen to feel inspired where you are, feel free to pause this recording and take a minute to write down your word, along with any fresh ideas that are coming up for you right now.
Come along on a journey with us and tune into this next part of our conversation between the Seven Sound & Co. Dream Team. Listen to our stories about how we all came together as an agency, and from the inside out, learn about our unique approach to building trust and working together inside a shared creative process.
All right, you are listening to the second official episode from the Book Zero series podcast show, of which we are calling 0.1. In our previous episode 0.0, we open up the conversation with introductions to Lady Maven and Captain Kelly. We got to hear some of their stories, specifically as it relates to their peculiar journeys leading towards ending up playing very vital roles in the Seven Sound & Co. creative movement. And now, as your key co-hosts here on the Oation Station. So with no further ado, let's jump back into this really fun discussion and pick up where we left off, learning more about the core cast in a two-part segment where you get to learn more about us. Let's get into it. This is so wild to hear this in this conversational flow, because to be completely honest, this dream for Seven Sound started in Tucson in 2009 when I was living here originally, before I moved away for a decade. And I've been through hell and back as an entrepreneur, as an artist, just saying yes, that no matter what it would take, I saw a vision of something that was very beautiful and something that could be healing and whole, not just for me, but for many families, maybe every family. That's how haunted I felt about this benevolent, beautiful vision that was given to me by God. From the inside out, just having very clear insight of what was possible. And I doubted, I struggled, I was wrestled with this for years. And then my journey as an artist in development led me, it was always parallel as an entrepreneur and artist. Normally those worlds are bifurcated, but in my world, they were very integrated. And so my journey has been long, like maybe 15 years of dedicated, devoted belief, faith. If there's anything like, what do you do, Corey? Sometimes people are befuddled. They're like, so what do you do? I'm like, how much time do you have? I do plenty, but really what I am is a faithful person and a devoted person that just really have been very tested, very challenged, to give up, and I haven't, and I'm grateful to sit here. So I come back to Tucson, I get to restart. I get to start over, and I put out this prayer. God, source of the force, all that is, I have this vision and I'm starting over. This is the most vulnerable, humble thing. I'm doing my very best to just, lean in with the brokenness of my own family and wanting to like take everything I've learned as a healing artist and make it real. And my prayer went out. I just was like, I've tried to create this partnership over the years, over the last 10 years, many iterations. So I'm like, this is it. This is that project where it's all going to come online. And this is the group. This is the team. I've always been searching for the others. And I'm like, you're a part of you, right? You and me, and we're going to do this thing, right? Right? Oh, and just heartbroken after heartbreak after heartbreak of feeling I'm starting over until all of it leads me up and down the coast, literally from San Diego to Northern California, Los Angeles to Bellingham, Washington. I have lived
the entire coast,
up and down the West Coast completely. And I come back home and the prayer goes out and guess who shows up and hears the call? A couple of badass moms. That's who shows up. Minivan driving,
that's crazy.
badass mom, hybrid vehicle, conscious, cool
Ain't no way.
moms. And then apparently that's all that it takes is a guy with a dog and a dream and a couple of awesome moms. And we can change the whole music industry and accomplish anything, because really in a year of dropping it hasn't even been a full year.
It hasn't been a full year for me.
With you and I, we haven't gone a full year yet.
No, it was
You're
at the
almost
end of
there.
July.
Yeah.
Oh, we've known it. She stalked me for a long time in the community.
In a healthy way, right?
In a healthy way.
I had to make sure she was safe.
Okay.
She was wholesome.
I have been very much checked as a massage
Lovingly
therapist,
stalked.
making
Yes.
sure I am
Lovingly
fully
stalked.
licensed, insured. I've had a lot of people check on me.
It's amazing. Well, so in this artist's heart, having just so many wishes, so many dreams, so many prayers that have gone out, unexorbitant, and then giving up and letting go and feeling almost like I wanted to end my life not too long ago. I've never been to that place ever. I never thought I would be homeless. I never thought I would end up on a street some nights. I never thought that I would not want to live, but feeling literally so hopeless.
Feeling hopeless and broken, like nobody knows what you're going through.
That if I couldn't integrate my gifts and my dreams, and it was pointless. I needed a sign. I needed something to change. And it was you guys.
Well, you showed up in my life in the space where I was in that place of struggle. I was an exhausted mom. I had just made a transition within career, and it was a positive thing. It was a good thing. However, it was...
Gavin,
Just
we're
cut real
recording.
quick.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Gavin,
Did you show Wally?
Show Wally to the
Make sure the
camera.
camera.
There's
see
two
Wally.
cameras. This is what it's like when you start living a dream and
is it.
you have a family.
Sorry to interrupt, but thank you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Love you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gavin. Appreciate
Good to see you, bud.
The special guest, Gavin.
All works.
Aw,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Wally.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Gavin.
I just love it.
Amazing. There's
Because
never a dull
it's-
moment.
It's that's part of what makes us who we are,
Yeah.
is when the kids show up. And
The family.
it's the family piece. And even though I had one, and I've got a family, I've got good people in my world, I was in a place of struggle. And I wasn't planning on continuing on. There was nothing that I should have or could have wanted. And yet, in that week of my life where I was going to make a decision that would have been a very poor one, you showed up and completely foiled the plans I had made by setting an appointment with me. And if you know anything about me, you know I don't miss an appointment. And I was like, good grief. I'm like, well, I guess I'm meant to be there, because you have now completely strewn apart, this random stranger with a dog has completely strewn apart my world, where I was in this absolute pit and absolutely miserable. And to the extent of wrote the letter so that my husband would know what to do and where to find things. And it, to this day, actually sits as a continued reminder of the place that I was that low. And yet that was the week that you entered my life.
Unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up. It's just God. It's so crazy. And to know and to meet you, I just thought you were just an art director professionally. Like, that's just always what you've done and what you were destined to do. You have a background in theater, doing everything, be actress,
And even all those you
director.
didn't know until months
Until
later.
way later.
Yeah.
And then and out of nowhere, I'm working with Gavin, who just graced us with his presence. And I'm just not thinking anything, just working with him, trying to get him inspired about music and help him reach his goals and get stoked about the idea. He's a gifted music composer and artist himself, incredible visual artist too. And I didn't even I even forgot I said it. I just cast my wishes sometimes, and I don't know what will happen. But I've been envisioning the idea of like this character of the Mr. Corey that I've been developing. I was like, how cool would it be to become a storybook and to like, I used to watch cartoons as a kid and want to do what I was seeing. My mom would like watching me watching cartoons. And that was her show, was watching me watching cartoons. And everything within me was like, I want to do all of that. I was like, I don't know how. I got my songs and I got a dream and music, but I would love to get involved in animation. It has to start somewhere. It starts with a drawing. And so to be able to like tell you about this vision and forget about it. And then you're like, here, look at this. And I was like, is that Poppy coming out of a magic hat? I was like, what? I've never had that kind of friendship or that type of love, you know, in the creative space come back to me in that way, where I was like, now I want to do incredibly extra things because you inspired me with your art. And then we're inspiring each other with our art. And that's literally the foundation of how we became friends and got to know each other, was through art.
It was through creativity. It was through shared vision and a desire to just share that growth and be able to do that, not just for us, but to be able to do that for others. I mean, you brought this catalog of inspiration with you. I was mind blown the day that you showed up and you were organizing files, and I'm kind of watching and I'm like, what is all this? And you're like, oh, these are all songs. And I'm like, wait, what? Who are you? And
no one dude with a bunch of records.
I'm like, wait, who are you? And then watching, you know, what you've done with Gavin, what you've done with my Aaron as he's stepping in as trying out for the worship team
So
this
proud of
year.
him.
And I'm like, this is incredible. And then watching
He's so
Isaac,
good.
you know, watch all of this and dabble in, hey, Mom, I can make beats just like
he
Mr.
can.
Corey.
Yeah, he can.
And I'm going to learn to play keyboard like Mr.
boy.
Corey. And all of these things that you just inspire, you know. And then Lake, you step in and you know, share this videography excitement with the kids and turn my kid into this like camera wielding, guitar playing. I'm like, who are these people? And yet you do it naturally and you show up and you love the whole family.
That's true. It's the whole family business. Well, and to kind of dovetail this specific segment, and we get to keep tapping into our story, which is still happening, and it's like every week is like, time is relative. In our world, time has been very interesting because a week like this week
This
the
week has been
timing
incredible.
of this podcast, the blessings, the conversations, the partnerships that are coming to the table are, you know, world class. And we're just a dude with a dog and a couple of moms is a story, you know. And I'll tell you from this art that I laid everything down, let it all go. I gave up all the dreams, I gave up all the visions, you know, as far as being attached to them. It's not like I forgot them, but I literally was like, God, if this is gonna happen and this is meant to be, and it's not just me delusional, and you have to go there. As a wild artist, you have to be like, all right, I might be delusional, okay? I might be missing it, and I might be off course, and God correct me. You know, I'm there in that phase of my life. But because the blessing of the dream team showed up like I hoped for, but beyond what I could have even imagined, the recent project, which I think could be the next segment, is something we're calling Book Zero. And it's interesting because we had, throughout the year, it wasn't just one song, many songs that came out of this container. And other, edits and projects
and stories
and
vision
and developing this beautiful website, sevensound.co. Make sure you go there if you haven't poked around sevensound.co. Shameless plug, not even like fully proud plug of what we've co-created. Make sure you check it out. So much work that we've left behind, and getting involved in things like animation and film, which I think it will be a couple more segments. Is for me as an artist, I realized that as an artist developer too, putting out a message of artist development and living that out the best that I can authentically, I reached another ceiling where I was wanting to empower other artists and wanting to give gifts of other artists that I was not willing to do. Not that I wasn't willing, I hadn't done myself. And so I was like, I'm sitting on a catalog of songs that are very personal to me. And I want to do I want to put out the music that we're already advancing, records and soundtrack for an album, for movies, like total pinch me dream come true stuff. But it was almost like, for me personally as an artist, the MC, Mr. Corey Ferrugia, was, I have a testimony, I have a story. And I could talk about it on this podcast, but the truth is I've already written a decade or more of songs telling my story. And I've been in a way I've been hiding. In a way I've just been embarrassed of some of the things I've gone through, full transparency. I've been working it out behind the scenes in my own life of like, do I even want to share this? Is it even necessary? And I came to this point where I was like, no, this is for me. And I have the support in my life to be able to actually bless the songs and bless the recordings and bless the videos, which we just did. And so I think I'd like to share a little bit more about the book Zero. But for now, this is us. This is the Seven Sound team at the core. Captain Kelly, Lady Maven, the MC, Poppy, and Stella. This is the three of us that you are going to see on this the Awation Station. Your co-host. There will be others, but for now, this is the people have seen a lot of what we've created, but this podcast, this experience, this show allows us to do exactly that. Show you how we connect, how we communicate, how we are going to solve problems creatively, and there's a lot ahead of us that we're going to be. We have mountains to climb and mountains to move.
But we have each other.
We have families. You're going to see the dogs. My little one is Stella. That's a story for another time.
Oh, yeah.
And then I want to say thank you to Lake. I mean, he's set up and he's over here making sure that we sound amazing, which I'm really hoping. I'm excited to hear.
You do sound amazing. Spoiler.
So awesome.
Thanks, Lake.
So this is the end of this very first episode, and we're going to move on to the next one, and furthering the conversation. Essentially what you're seeing behind the scenes is this has been a long-form conversation with a vision of segmenting out the episodes of what would be the warm-up series. Essentially us covering just the warm-up of setting the stage, setting the scene for many projects that are going to be coming out of Seven Sound & Co. But we needed to start with, you needed to know the main characters of this story, and then you get to see the rest of our cast as this unfolds. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay tuned and to be continued.
Awesome. We hope you enjoyed this next segment of the Series Zero conversation. And as you probably can tell by now, we're not just an agency of creative producers, but we genuinely love and appreciate one another on a real and transparent level around here. You see, for me, this was the vision for what Seven Sound was to exist for since the beginning of our story. I received a dream about an organization and a movement that was about empowering one another. I saw this grand collaborative force rising up as an autonomous community of high-impact and low-maintenance individuals who were living an inspirational and loving lifestyle. See, as it turns out, the dream is here now, and it's us.
It's truly been a healing journey, having the opportunity to work beside each other in the shared venture. And our choice to remain authentic and vulnerable in how we are choosing to share our stories. There's bound to be provocative and sensitive issues that will arise, as you heard in this previous episode. We know we aren't the only ones who have faced and are still facing crisis, hopelessness, or depression. If you or someone you know is in crisis, call or text the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. The Lifeline provides 24-hour confidential support to anyone in suicidal crisis or emotional distress. Call 911 in life-threatening situations. If you are looking for a therapist, you can go to psychologytoday.com and search for certified professionals in your state. Personally, that's how I found mine and have been seeing her now for a year, working on a deeper healing journey with myself.
Until next time, keep dreaming big, stay curious, and let your creative light shine. If you would like to stay in touch and learn more from us, head on over to Instagram and Facebook at 7soundstory, and also on youtube.com/@7soundstory to see and hear what we've been up to. Remember to keep checking in at 7sound.co for the latest updates, along with opportunities to collaborate, support, and participate with us. Consider subscribing at the bottom of our homepage to receive our monthly zine.
All right, now that you've had a chance to get to know more about Captain Kelly, Maven, and myself, in the next episode, we will continue the conversation by taking on a deep dive into our creative process that went into the Book Zero project. It's a very special acoustic album and music video experience that is going to reveal my untold story over the past decade. And it's only just the warm-up of much more brand new music coming your way. And in the meantime, stay inspired and remember that you are far more capable than you can imagine. Blessings.
So if anybody out there has a word on your heart, one that is worth turning into a piece of art, well come on then, shout it out, especially if it's an idea worth writing.